Yo, what's up, guys? I want to talk to you guys today about something a little bit different, and that is your job. I want to talk to you guys today about why you should quit your job today. Just call up your boss and say, I quit. Well, maybe not going that far, but just in case you are considering this route and quitting your job is something that you are interested in doing, oh my goodness, you want to watch this video. Okay, so first things first, a little bit about myself. I actually used to work as a teacher. I went to college and got a degree in history, and I decided I wanted to become a teacher. And I used to work so many hours that when I was a teacher that I started to notice some things or some problems about the whole corporate world in general. And so that's why in this video I'm going to give you guys 10 reasons why you should quit your job right now and never look back. Okay? And so maybe this has been you in the past where, you're sitting at a business table with a ton of people who are all just giving fake smiles to each other, talking about how they're going to help the company because they all care so much, and how they're all going to make sure the profits continue going up, or make sure that the content that they're teaching matches up to the educational standard, whatever the exact quote-unquote game it is that you play at your workplace. Well, I'm going to give you 10 reasons why you should just stop playing this game and quit your job right now, right here, today. Okay? So that brings us to our first reason why you should quit your job here now, today. And that is simply that because you could start building a passive income. Okay? So a lot of people might not even know what this is, and so let me go ahead and break this down real quick. A passive income is where you keep growing your bank accounts without necessarily having to do any work, because the work that you put in to ensure that your bank account keeps growing is already done. And so you have assets in which are starting to make money. Passive income, income that you don't have to do anything to make money. And when you quit your job, you start looking for, obviously, ways to make money, but passive income is one of the things that you will start to research and learn more about, because this is one of the ways that you can guarantee that you can keep your money coming in without having to sit at one of these business meetings, whatever you call these boring, just awful, ruining your day sort of meetings, right? And so that's why you should just consider quitting your job, is that way you can have some more time to start building passive income. Okay, a lot of people will go throughout their whole lives without even considering building a passive income because they get so used to, having the salary, the monthly paycheck. I get it. But if you want to make sure that your bank account keeps growing, even if you lose your job or whatever your circumstance, even if you aren't even planning on quitting your job, passive income is something that you should look at, okay? And so that's my first reason why you should quit your job, is because you can start building passive income. This brings me to my second point, which is you start to realize that you don't need a job to make money. So this kind of goes along with what we were talking about with a passive income. But once you actually quit your job and you're out on your own and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I need to still be able to support myself. What am I going to do? Well, you're going to realize that there's a lot of different ways to make money, and most of which, or many of which, don't even require you to have a quote-unquote 9-to-5 in the first place. And so one big option that I would recommend to you guys is that you could just make money online, okay? And there's many different ways to do this. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out my How to Make Money While Living Abroad video right here. And so long story short with this point, guys, when you have a job, you start to get trapped up in the whole concept that you need that job to make sure that you can pay your rent and make sure that you have food every single day of the month. But I am here today living proof that you don't need a job to make money, and you can, as an alternative, for example, make money online, okay? This is my third reason, and this is a pretty important one as far as my personal life is concerned, is that you won't be locked into one location. Okay, personally, I grew up in Denver, Colorado, and it's it's wonderful there. Everybody's moving there for whatever reason. Well, actually, probably mostly because the legalization of marijuana, but that's a different point. When you quit your job and you start to figure out ways to make money without having a job, well, you then realize that you don't have to stay in, for example, Denver, Colorado your whole life, and you could travel throughout the whole world and make money anywhere in the world while not having a job. Okay, this brings me to my fourth reason why you should quit your job, and that is you create your own schedule. Okay, I don't know about you, but when I was working as a teacher way back when, I used to hate how I'd have to wake up at 5:20 in the morning, then I'd go to school, and then I'd have to finish up my lesson planning for the day, and then I'd have to go out and do meet and greet at exactly 7:40, and then I'd have to have classes at an exact time every single day, Monday through Friday. The schedule never changes, and it's a routine that you develop. Well, that whole lifestyle and that whole way of living, at least in my experience, gets really dull and mundane and boring. But when you quit your job and realize different ways to make money without having a job, you can make your own schedule, and it's so awesome, guys, that it gets to the point where, for example, I don't even know what day of the week it is most of the times. Today, I know today's Wednesday just because I was thinking about that, but it can be very nice to have your own schedule and not have it dictated to you by somebody else, aka a boss. Okay, it can get old, right? And so that's my fourth tip. You get to create your own schedule. Very nice. Having your own schedule, right? That brings me to my fifth point, which is kind of similar to number 4, and that's you are your own boss. So see these two people right here? Each of them are their own boss. I'm right. Me too. Well, who's actually right? Well, who cares? Because they're both their own boss, okay? If you don't like your boss giving you a list of things that you need to do, or you don't like a certain rule about your workplace, or if you don't like having to always go up and tell your principal what you're teaching in class that day, and specifically how you're going to teach it, and making sure that you're teaching correctly, the correct way to teach how the Incas grew corn. Well, at the end of the day, there's a variety of different ways to do the same thing. When you are your own boss, you realize that you could just stop taking orders from somebody else who knows it just as well as you do and start doing things your way. As that's my fifth point. You are your own boss, and it is awesome not having to listen to anybody else who maybe doesn't even have your best interest at heart. That brings me to my sixth reason why you should quit your job today, here and now, and that is because you have more time for self-reflection and self-betterment. Okay, if you are working a salary position where you are on contract, so many hours a week, it starts to take a toll on how much time you have left for yourself and your life, and making sure you're happy, and making sure your family's happy, and making sure your friends are whatever. If you have no job and you have your own schedule and you are your own boss, well, nobody's going to tell you when you have time for yourself and when you have time for thinking of ways that you did something wrong in the past and how you could change it to make it better in the future. Well, if you are on a contract salary position, you probably don't have a whole lot of time for this, and you really, at the end of the day, don't get a whole lot better and don't reflect on yourself and, oh my goodness, that is bad. That's not what we want to do, right? We want to have time for bettering ourselves and reflecting on ourselves and improving ourselves however we can. For example, 2 months ago I became a vegan, and I've been eating a vegan diet for 2 months, something like that. That brings me to my seventh point, which is big, and it's you feel free. You don't have anybody to listen to. You don't have to take orders from anyone. You don't even have to worry about how you're going to support yourself, because the only person who's in charge of your success is you when you don't have a job. And so if you want to experience the highest amount of freedom possible, well, quit your job right now if you want to feel free. There is so much freedom that comes along with not having a schedule, not having a boss, working for yourself. And it's something that's really difficult to explain. It's best left to experience. So if you want to experience complete 100% freedom, quit your job. Alright, next up, number 8. No more workplace drama. Okay, any sort of job you have, people are going to become friends, acquaintances, and get to know each other a little bit. And, inevitably there's always a clash of personalities. Whatever the specific case is, there's always some sort of clash between 2 people or 3 people or 4 people or whatever the exact circumstance is, okay? But if you quit your job, you don't have to deal with that anymore, and you can just relax and enjoy your carefree lifestyle without having the negativity of other people and the drama of other people get in the way of you and your happiness. And so that's my 8th reason why you should quit your job is you don't have to experience any more workplace drama, and it is exhausting. That brings me to number 9. You start saving more money. Obviously, when you first are starting off and you quit your job and you start looking for ways to build passive income, build income in general, well, you realize that you need to be careful, at least at the start, because you don't want to run out of money while you're thinking of ways to make more money, right? And so that's one thing you'll start doing is you'll start saving more money, and it becomes a habit, and it gets to the point when you actually do start making more money and start making some real income that you can support yourself, that the habit carries over and you continue to save even when your income is up. And that's just an awesome habit to have in general, is knowing how to save money. And so that's my 9th reason you should quit your job, is because you start saving more money. And while we're talking about money, let's go ahead and jump to our 10th point, which is your salary. And specifically, your salary is limitless. When you have a job, you know it's a very clear-cut, precise payment plan that you have. Specifically, if you are on a salary plan like I was when I was a teacher way back when, I'd have to wait until the first of the month to get my paycheck, and then maybe if I'm lucky at the end of the year, they would raise my contract to make it so that I would get a little bit more money. Well, forget that whole system. What happened to the system where you control how much income you get and you control your own success? That's why I would recommend, for my 10th reason, not to quit your job, just because you get an endless salary, okay? There's no cap. You don't get to make a maximum of this amount in a year. You can work your butt off and make sure that you make more. So never again will you have to put in hours slaving yourself away just to make that same paycheck that you did the previous month. If you quit your job and you put in that same amount of slavery, that same amount of hard work that you put into, making a lesson plan, into building a passive income, well, the work's going to pay off a lot more so in the long run. You get my logic here? And so that's why I would recommend, you just not play the whole corporate rat race in general. Just quit your job and start living for yourself and improving your own income today with extra time and not having to answer it to anybody else, and just being your own boss in general, experiencing the most freedom you can. Okay, if you have any more suggestions or reasons why you should quit your job, feel free, and actually please comment those in the comment box below, because I am just trying to help people who want to quit their job and maybe live abroad, live as a full-time nomad like I do. Whatever your exact circumstance is, I am here today as living proof that you can do it. Okay? But that's all I have for you guys. Have a great day. Peace.